Thank you for checking out Real Talk Personal Finance. Shit's about to get real. Cash Flow King with you today. And today, in episode 68, we have the 2023 Triple G. Giveaway, guests, and goals. As always, thanks so much for tuning into the show. We really, truly appreciate it. This is looking like it's going to be the last podcast episode for the Real Talk Personal Finance podcast in 2023. We got some things cooking for you for 2024 that we talked about in the last episode in terms of consistency and so on. So more to come on that in 2024. Be on the lookout for the first episode of 2024 to drop on New Year's Day. That's right. We'll give a little spoiler alert here. I have decided that we are going to release shows now starting in 2024 on Mondays. So everybody can get through the weekend, do what they need to do, ready to hit it back hard on Monday, and you got the whole week to listen to it. Tune in whenever you'd like, and hopefully we're one of your favorite shows, and we pop up and help get you through the day and get you through the work week. So that's going to be our new publishing schedule, our planned publishing schedule for 2024. All right, so let's get into it. We talked on prior episodes about our premium subscribers and doing a giveaway for folks, and I was kind of on the fence on, what I wanted to do and how much we were going to give away and that sort of thing. And I am pleased to let everybody know that we are now going to announce the winners, that's right, plural, winners, of the e-gift cards for our premium subscribers. So ironically, we actually had somebody who unsubscribed from being a premium subscriber. They were subscribed to $3 per month, and right at the deadline, for whatever reason, they decided that they were no longer going to be a premium subscriber of the Real Talk Personal Finance podcast.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
So, sad to see them go, but unfortunately, they were not entered into the drawing, which increased the odds for everybody else that maintained their premium membership as a premium subscriber. So let me see if I still have it up here. There's this, commentpicker.com, this random name generator. So I was able to go in here, take the list of premium subscribers, put everybody's name on there one line at a time, and it kind of looks like, just basically a wheel, and you just click on it, and it simulates a spin, and it lands on somebody's name. And so I said, all right, let me use this thing, and we'll go ahead and give something away. And lo and behold, the very first fucking name that it landed on, believe it or not, was Cube Crusher. And so he is a premium subscriber, believe it or not, so am I, but I decided I was not going to be eligible for this. But he is a premium subscriber. He is contributing to the show on a monthly basis, and so I thought, you know what, we'll treat him just like everybody else that's a premium subscriber. We're going to go ahead and let him win. But just so that it doesn't seem rigged, and just so we can share the wealth a little bit, I decided to draw spin for 3 other names as well. So each of these 4 individuals will be receiving a $25 e-gift card. Wasn't really sure where I wanted to get it to. I decided to go with Domino's, and so hopefully everybody likes Domino's. If not, I'm sure you can re-gift it if you need to. But you are going to be getting a $25 e-gift card. Cube Crusher is the first winner. Cameron C. is the second winner. Trevor E. is the third winner. And Diane D. is the fourth winner. So we're giving away a hot hundy here. 4 different $25 e-gift cards to Domino's going out to those 4 individuals. So congratulations on those that won. Thank you to everybody that is a premium subscriber of the show. If you have no clue what I'm talking about and you're brand new to the show and you're just tuning in, feel free to click on the link that says Become a Premium Subscriber today. You can read about the benefits of becoming premium. It is still $3 a month, and we're leaving that up until at least the rest of the year. So if you want to lock in that pricing, feel free to go ahead and take advantage of that. So thanks again to everybody, and congrats to Cube Crusher, Cameron C., Trevor E., and Diane D. Please check your email. You will be getting a $25 e-gift card to Domino's. And, I actually really enjoy doing this. I'm planning on doing this quite a bit more often. Maybe we'll do something quarterly. I haven't quite decided that yet for 2024, but I don't think this is just going to be an annual thing. I want to be able to give back and really show some appreciation for those that support the show. So thanks again for doing that. The other thing we put out about a week and a half ago on the last podcast was a request to have folks either email the show or to click the link to, we use SurveyMonkey this time, for our one-question survey to choose your 2023 favorite Real Talk Personal Finance podcast guest. And we had 5 different individuals that were there for 2023. We had some that were repeat guests. Obviously, we had some other guests that were on the show previously in 2022, and I think at least one of them is going to be coming back next year in 2024. And so the results are in. It was a fairly short time to do the survey, but I thought it would make sense to do everything together. So we just announced the winners for the e-gift cards for the premium subscriber drawing. Now we are going to announce the top guests of 2023, and a couple other things we're going to talk about quickly today. And I wanted to put everything in the same show. So first was the giveaway. We just did that. Second is guests. And it was pretty close. The number one 2023 Real Talk Personal Finance podcast guest that took in about 36% of the votes was the Rent Reverend. Hopefully he'll come back on the show. I think everybody really did enjoy. He's only been with us once so far. Hopefully he'll be back again in 2024. I think everybody really enjoyed that episode. If you haven't checked it out yet, feel free to go back in the archives and look for the episode featuring the Rent Reverend. I think you'll enjoy it. Close runner-up at 27% of the votes. In spot number 2, we had the Credit Union Cowboy, also known as Cuck. And hopefully he will be back on the show in 2024 as well. So those were our top 2 guests of 2023. Thanks again to everybody who was a guest on the Real Talk Personal Finance podcast. If you or somebody you know would like to be a guest on the podcast, feel free to write the show and we will connect with you, realtalkpersonalfinance@gmail.com. All right, so that takes care of the guests. And then the last one, goals. And as I mentioned, I think on the last show, this is an interesting time of year. There's a lot of different holidays going on and celebrations going on, but also for a lot of folks, including myself, it tends to slow down a little bit. So it's a really good time to reflect on the year that's passed and think about some things coming up for the year ahead. And so that kind of brings us into 2024 goal setting. We could probably do an entire podcast about that, and that's not what we're going to do here today. But I just wanted to give a few quick tidbits of information that might be helpful for you as you're thinking about your goals for next year and planning for next year, and just a few different things I wanted to share with you. So first one, and this is not something that I've made up by any stretch. It's been around forever, and people have probably heard this before, but a lot of folks will encourage you to set what's called SMART goals. S-M-A-R-T. Right, being an acronym standing for specific. The S would be for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for relevant, and T for time-bound. So instead of saying something like, I want to make a bunch of money. Well, what the hell does that mean, right? But you might instead say something like, I will earn at least X number of dollars in this type of income by this date. And so actually, for myself, for next year, I've set I've set several goals, but one big health goal, right? I want to weigh a certain amount by a certain period in time. So it's very specific. I can measure it. I can put my fat ass on a scale and see what number pops up. It's achievable because it's somewhat close to where I am now, right? And it's still a ways to go, but I know that I can get there because I've been at that level before. It's relevant to what I'm trying to do in terms of a healthier lifestyle, and it is time-bound because I am setting a definitive date in terms of when I want to achieve that. And I did the same thing with W-2 income, right? I will earn at least X number of dollars in W-2 income by such and such date. So you can, kind of morph that into your own situation and adapt that to whatever it is that you're working on, but just try to be specific in what you're trying to do, right? You want to be able to quantify it, so you want it to be measurable. It's good to shoot for the stars, but at the same time, you want it to be, reasonable and achievable. You don't want to say, I was listening to another podcast, I think it was earlier today, or maybe it was over the weekend, I can't remember, but recently, and somebody was saying, if somebody made $50,000 this year, okay, and then next year their goal is to make $5 million. I mean, theoretically, yes, that's possible, but that may or may not be realistic and achievable. So you want to make sure that you are setting achievable goals for yourself so that you don't get discouraged. Again, you want them to be relevant to what you're looking to do, and you want them to have a definitive date or time period, or have them be time-bound in some way. So just a couple of quick tips there as you're thinking about things for yourself for next year. Keep those things in mind. There are a couple of book recommendations that I wanted to make, and we'll put a couple of links to these in the show notes. There's two books that came to mind. The first one has been a longtime favorite of mine, and I reread it every so often. In fact, it's probably about time for me to reread it again. But it's called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. It's a great book. I won't spoil it. But for anybody that's really looking to get a jump start on their day and change their way of doing things, really feeling like they're getting a jump start, a quick start, they're being efficient, there's certain practices and things that you can do early in the morning, and that's not going to work for everybody. But even if you're not historically a morning person, I think it's definitely worth a read and definitely worth putting into practice. And I've noticed the times that I've done that, I feel very energized, I'm very productive, and the times that I kind of get away from that, I'm more lethargic and tired and not nearly as productive as when I implement the Miracle Morning. So I'll leave that to you if that's something that you want to take a look at. And again, we'll put a link in the show notes. And then the second book, I read this one some time ago, and it's called The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran. Again, we'll put a link to that in the show notes. And it has to do with really splitting time frames and chunking them down. So a lot of times when we set goals, and I do this, I'm guilty of this myself, we will set them on an annual basis, right? So we just talked a few minutes ago about SMART goals and having them be time-bound. And I've noticed a lot of times I'll say, okay, by 12/31, December 31st of this year, whatever year that happens to be, these are the things that I want to do. And that's fine, but sometimes it's just so far in the distance, so far in the future, that it's hard sometimes to stay motivated, and there's a tendency for people to be somewhat lackadaisical about it until you get closer and closer to, oh shit, it's October, it's November, it's now December, I really need to jump on this. So the whole premise behind the 12-week year is to splitting that up into 12 weeks or into quarters, and it's enough time to be able to achieve the goal, but at the same time, it forces you to hold yourself accountable because you don't have a ton of time really to waste or to kill. So feel free to check that out again, The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran. I haven't read that in a while, but it was a really good book when I did take a look at it. And it's a different way of thinking about goals and thinking about things. And then finally, and I did this back in 2019 and 2020, I probably need to come back out to it again here at some point. I was actually going through these binders earlier today when I was working on some goals for myself and for our family for 2024, and it's a goal-setting conference. So for anybody that really wants to, and I would, I don't get anything for this. I wish we did have some kind of referral program set up with them, but it's just a really, I guess you could say, life-changing in some ways, very, very immersive experience in the whole process of goal setting. And it's not just like I talked about a little while ago with SMART goals. I want to lose this much weight, and I want to make this much money, and I want to do blah, blah, blah. It's more so about taking a few steps back and looking at your life and where you are and sort of what makes you tick. What is your philosophy? What do you believe in? And I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there's a lot of really great immersive information. There's a reason that they put Kleenex on the table. I mean, the second time I sort of knew what to expect. The first time I went, I was completely taken away and taken aback. And there's some exercises that you go through and things that you do that really make you think and really will kind of get into your emotional being. And this isn't really a woo-woo podcast by any means, but there's something to be said for really taking a deep look inside and putting a physical pen to a physical piece of paper as opposed to typing something on a computer, and just putting yourself in an environment in a room full of other people where you're there collectively, but at the same time you're there with yourself. Even if you go with somebody else, they encourage folks to, at a certain point in the weekend, to sort of split up and sit on different sides of the room. And so the first time I went, I was there myself, and then the second time I went, I was with my significant other, now my wife, and we went through that process together, and it was really, really powerful in many different ways. So I would strongly encourage folks, if you have a little bit of extra time and you have, a few dollars to spend on it, and you're really into personal and self-development, and you want to do something that's probably something that you've never done before, you might want to consider a goal-setting conference. And there's a bunch of them out there. The one specifically that we went to, it's been around for several years now, called Create Your Future Goals Retreat, and it's put on by the Real Estate Guys. And you guys have probably heard me talk about the Real Estate Guys radio podcast before on the show. They have a lot of good information there. I actually had a chance to meet Robert and to meet Russ. I actually sat down. They call it an afterglow reception with a couple folks that were there at the conference, and also with Russell Gray, and just have an opportunity to talk to him. And he's, I don't know, from a financial strategy standpoint, I think he's brilliant, and just to be able to spend time with him, it was really, really nice. So would strongly encourage anybody that's interested in doing something like that to consider it. They actually do have an event coming up for 2024. They used to do the event in Lake Las Vegas, and those of you that know I go to Vegas fairly often, probably it's no surprise that I happen to be going there around that time. It wasn't like in Vegas, but of course I was able to go out a little bit early and have a little fun, and then go to the conference in Lake Las Vegas after that. And but anyway, the event this year is January 12th through the 14th, and it's in Dallas, Texas. So maybe we'll put a link to that in the show notes. I'm not sure if we will or not. If not, you guys can just go to realestateguysradio.com, I believe is their website, and you can click on in-person events. And there's a Create Your Futures Goal Retreat. There's a couple videos on there. You can check them out and see what you think and that sort of thing. But I would highly recommend it to anybody that's really trying to get clarity and really trying to just take a look introspectively at their life and set some goals for themselves for 2024. So if you want the abbreviated version, that's kind of what I'm doing this year. Basically, the SMART goals might be something for you. If you want to dig a little bit deeper and really, set some time aside to read a couple of books, I gave you some recommendations. And if you want to go full out, all out, feel free to check out different types of events out there. There's a bunch of different organizations that do them, but this is one I've been to twice, and I can put my seal of approval on the fact that I think it was a great event. The first one, again, I liked way better than the second one, but I think a big part of that, first of all, I went 2 years in a row, and second of all, I basically knew what to expect. But going there for the very first time in 2019, it was just, I was blown away. So, and you'll meet a lot of great people as well. It's not really designed to be a networking event. It's designed for, you to be there with yourself or with your, whether business partner, significant other, and really work on some things together, but also individually. But as a byproduct of that, you're naturally going to be around other high-achieving people that really, took the time and spent the money to work on themselves. And, they always say, I think it's a Jim Rohn quote maybe, that you are the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So if you take a look around and you don't like your circle, change your circle. All right. That's all we have for today's show. This was episode 68, the 2023 Triple G. Congratulations again to Cube Crusher, Cameron C., Trevor E., Diane D. Be on the lookout for those $25 e-gift cards to Domino's. Hope you enjoy some pizza on the Real Talk Personal Finance podcast. Congratulations to Rent Reverend coming in first place with 36% of the votes for the Guest of the Year in 2023. Also, congrats to Credit Union Cowboy, close runner-up in second place there with 27% of the votes. And looking forward to having this be sort of something that we do every year with the list of guests that were on the show for that particular year and having people vote to see, kind of who the winner was. So really, really good stuff. All right, work on your goals. Spend some time with friends, family. Enjoy yourself. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Thanks for checking out the show. We will see you in 2024.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.